All right, thank you so much for joining me for today's session. We're going to do GRE Verbal Strategies today. My name is James Powell. I'm the Center Director for Testing over here at the Hill Hall in the University College. So I'm happy to be presenting this information to you. Hope you get a lot out of it, and it's going to be very interactive. So I want to make sure that you're ready to come off mute and answer questions and participate regularly. Is everybody good with that? Give me a thumbs up or just say, yes, sir. All right, I see your thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get started. So, GRE Verbal Strategies. I'm going to focus mostly on text completion and sentence equivalence today. Hopefully, one or both of you were able to get on my previous session on GRE General Strategies, which was 2 weeks ago. So I hope you're able to join me for that. If not, you can go back and watch that video, and it's online. It's on the Canvas page. That's also going to house other workshops. But if you have questions about that, I'm happy to give you that website when we get off today. But that's the precursor. Now we're going to dive into verbal, focusing mostly on text completion and sentence equivalence. I'm going to maybe do some reading comprehension only if we have time permitting. So here we have a very broad overview of the GRE. No need to get into the details. I talked about this 2 weeks ago in the GRE General Strategies. But essentially, we're deep diving into that second piece called verbal reasoning. You can see that second row. There's 20 questions per section, 30 minutes per section, and you're going to get 2 of them that are scored on the test. So without further ado, I am going to just launch in because I want this to be a practical application session. We're actually going to go through questions that have been on previous GRE tests. So these are real, legit questions that you know are accurate in terms of representing the test very well. So the first question I have for you is this. Just as the author's book on eels is often a key text for courses on marine vertebrate zoology, their ideas on animal development and phylogeny, blank teaching in this area. So again, text completion, they're going to give you a blank. They're going to ask you to fill in the blank with A, B, C, D, or E. So y'all go ahead and start working on this. And when you've got an answer, give me a thumbs up so I can have you guys participate. I'm going to give you just 30 seconds. Go for it now, please. So that's about 30 seconds. Why don't you all tell me what you think? Just as the author's book on eels is often a key text for courses in marine vertebrate zoology, their ideas on animal development and phylogeny, blank teaching in this area. What do you think? Come off mute, please.
I would say inform.
Okay, and why do you say inform?
I guess it's trying to inform the reader about zoology or the animal development.
Okay, good. Xavier, do you have any comments?
I got inform as well.
And what is your explanation, please?
It just made the most sense, like with filling it in. Like I was just using each word to just, I don't really know. It just made the most sense to me.
Okay, just made the most sense. All right, well, the good news is you're both correct. It is D. Now I'm going to talk about strategies you might want to use to help you get to D. First of all is understand the text. Very, very important you understand. If you don't understand it, you actually have to go back and reread it. And you do have time to do that because these text completions are short. So you have a lot of time in your minute and a half. You have plenty of time within that minute to go back and reread it again. So reread again if you don't understand it. Really make sure you understand what's happening. So the meaning is key. Anytime you see a comment or any key words, you need to pay attention. The comma, sorry, commas, any punctuation. So here the comma divides two ideas. And the words just as are very, very critical words. So look for critical keywords. Just as mean equivalent to. So your first stuff, comma, second stuff need to be equivalent. First and second ideas must be equivalent. So far, so good? Give me a thumbs up if you're good with that. Okay, great. So the first idea is the author's book on eels is a key text, meaning it's very important. So this is your other hint. Try to paraphrase, try to use your own words. So if you see something like is often a key text for courses and blah, 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 replace that with your own words, like is often really, really important, right? And then there's a comma. So now they're going to say the second thing, second idea, and this is it. Their ideas on animal development and phylogeny, blank teaching in this area. So it has to, again, mirror, right? It has to be equal to, because you have the just as. So you want them to be equal to. So what is equal to? Very, very important. The only thing that is close to that is inform. To inform teaching is to be very, very important. So much so that you're informing or explaining or helping to be the foundation for teaching in the area. It's certainly not going to prevent. It's not going to defy. It's not going to replicate. They're not making the same thing. And use is okay, but it's not strong enough. Does everybody understand? Any comments from either of you about how I analyze this? Is that helpful? Give me some feedback, please. Go ahead and come off mute. Give me some feedback. I see one thumbs up. Any other thoughts?
No, I think what you said was helpful.
Okay, good. Let's do another one because this is, again, a working time together. We're going to work together to figure this stuff out. So let's go ahead and do another question. This is happens to be question 13, but we're just going to go ahead and do the next one. Mechanisms develop whereby every successful species can blank its innate capacity for population growth with the constraints that arise through its interactions with the natural environment. Your options are, in case you're looking on a phone, I'm going to give you the 5 answer choices. A, enhance. B, replace. C, produce. D, surpass. E, reconcile. Go ahead and spend 30 seconds to make a choice and be ready to explain to me why. All right, that's about 30 seconds. I want you to go ahead and come off mute and give me an answer and a rationale for why.
I think it's between enhance or produce, because it says for its capacity for population or growth. So I'm guessing that they enhance their environment. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'm stuck between enhance and surpass because of the way it's like mechanisms develop whereby every successful species can, and it's like it seems like it'll be something positive. So maybe like enhances innate capacity for population growth, or it either surpass. So
Okay. That sounds good. Let's talk about it. So when we want to look at this sentence, we want to understand what it means, right? I talked about meaning first. So let's talk about the meaning. Mechanisms develop whereby every successful species, that's a key word, successful, can blank its innate capacity. Innate means inborn, it was born with it. Its innate capacity for population growth. So it can blank that with something else. And that something else is the constraints that arise through its interactions with the natural environment. So you have something very curious going on here. You have an innate capacity for growth, right? I am born with the ability to reproduce, in this case, babies, children, baby tadpoles, whatever it is that the species is. And I can blank that with constraints. All right, constraints means things that hold you back. Did everybody know what constraints meant? Go ahead and give me a yes or no. I see a thumbs up. That would be yes for you, Xavier.
Yes.
Okay, so you know that there's, first of all, the ability to have children, like a lot of children, and then there's constraints, things that block you. So there has to be a word, A, B, C, D, or E, that can somehow bring these two to coexist. Do you understand that those two ideas are oppositional, right? One is I can bear children. The other is I have constraints, things that hold back my abilities in general. You both see that, right?
Yes.
So enhance is going to be wrong. A, enhance, because you cannot enhance the ability for growth by giving you things that prevent or stop you from doing stuff. Does that make sense? Enhance cannot be correct. You don't enhance your ability to have babies with constraints. Replace is also incorrect. You don't take the ability to bear children and then replace it with constraints. No, that doesn't work. Neither do you produce your ability to have babies with constraints. That doesn't even make sense. You can't produce A with B in this example. Surpass also does not work. You cannot surpass your ability to have children with constraints. But what you can do, of course, you figured it out because it's option E, is you can reconcile your capacity for having babies with constraints. Because reconcile means to take two things that seem to not work and make them work, right? Like if you reconcile, reconciliation, it could be like a husband and the ex-wife, or the husband and wife where they, one had an affair and so they're kind of separated. Well, when you come back together in marriage counseling, it's called reconciliation. You are reconciling. You're taking two people who don't agree and getting them to agree. So that's why when the two ideas, A, innate capacity for population growth, and B, constraints, when they're normally oppositional or fight against each other, that's why reconcile takes two things that fight together and brings them together. Is everybody yes and amen on that? Asa, Xavier, do you all understand and agree with what I'm saying so far? Again, come off mute. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you have anything to say, come off mute and tell me what you understood or what you gained from this example. Go ahead and do that now if you could, please.
I had got it incorrect, and I understand the way you explained it. I understand why it's not enhanced. So yeah.
Excellent. That's good to hear. All right.
Same thing. And I just realized how you basically just pick the sentence and look for key ideas in order to get the right answer.
Awesome. Thank you for that feedback. Yes. One of the key things is to identify, is it oppositional, meaning A is not B, or is it supportive, like A, or is it equal, like A and B are the same idea, or is it supportive, like A helps B, or B enhances A, or makes A stronger, right? So you have three core relationships. You have enhancement, you have equivalence, and you have opposition. So those are kind of three key things to look for as you're going through your main ideas. Hey, let's look at another one. Boom, here we go. In the midst of so many evasive comments, this forthright statement, whatever its intrinsic merit, plainly stands out as blank. Is it A, a paradigm, B, a misnomer, C, a profundity, D, an inaccuracy, E, an anomaly? Take 30 seconds or less. Try to come up with your own answer and your reason why. All right, that's about 30 seconds. Go ahead and give me your answer, either one of you, but go ahead and get off of mute and give me your answer and your explanation, please. Trying to incorporate as many of my ideas as you can. It's okay if you're incorrect. This is just practice. Does anybody want to give this a stab? Give this a try. Please come off mute now.
This one was a little difficult, but I think I'm gonna go with D.
Okay, D like dog.
Yes.
Okay, you're going with an inaccuracy. And why would you go with that? Tell me what your thinking is so I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
The words invasive statement and the forthright statement, those two kind of attract me to my answer a little bit.
Okay. Are you feeling like evasive comments and forthright statement are equal, supporting, or opposite?
Supporting.
Okay. Okay, so that's good to know. So here's where, tell me, Asa, tell me what evasive means. If you're in a battle and you use an evasive maneuver, what are you doing?
I want to say like invasive, like use it in a sentence one more time.
He was the Star Wars ship was about to crash and took an evasive maneuver.
Kind of like major
Okay.
or big.
Okay. Evasive actually means to evade, to avoid. So it's actually an avoiding maneuver. It's to avoid or to not really want to say the truth or to sort of hide. So evasive means to duck away or to avoid things, like I'm doing right now on the video, right? I'm evading things that are flying at me. So evasive means comments where you're not really getting at the truth. You're kind of trying to avoid me. Now, what does forthright mean, Asa?
Like coming forward.
Yeah, would that be more like being truthful or being evasive, like trying to avoid the truth? What do you think?
I would say trying to avoid the truth.
So forthright actually means straight up, meaning to be truthful. So what have we learned? We've learned that vocabulary is super important on the verbal test, right? If you feel like your vocab is not where it needs to be, you got to build that vocabulary up. How do you do that? Every new word you hear, including the words you're hearing today, and you're going to hear a lot of them, right? Because we're doing GRE prep. Every new word you hear, you're going to type it in your phone along with the explanation, or you're going to write it down on a piece of paper, and you're going to review your phone or your piece of paper every night, every new word you learn, and keep building it up so that the first night you might only look at 3 words. Well, tomorrow you might add 2 more words. Now you're going to look at 5 words. And then the next day you might have 1 more word. Well, that day you're going to look at 6 words. Constantly remind yourself of the words and their meaning, because you're going to over time build and build and build till you are going to be like, wow, I got 30 words, or I got 100 words. And you're going to develop your vocabulary. Now is the time to start, like right now. So write it down, put it in your phone notes or Evernotes or whatever app you're using on your phone. Start a new list, and it's going to be called vocabulary words to memorize. So one of those words is evasive, which means to avoid. The next word is forthright, which is to be honest. So now that we know what those words mean, and you're developing your vocabulary, so in the future you will know more and more of these words. Now that we know that it's in the midst of hiding comments, that this straightforward statement, whatever its merit, it will stand out as what? It's not going to be inaccurate, because the forthright statement is an honest and truthful statement. What do you think it might be if it's not D? Xavier, I heard you come off mute.
Yeah, I think it's B.
Okay, you think it's B. What is a misnomer, Xavier? What do you think it means?
Misnomer. It's like, is it something that's like wrong or not right?
Yes, a miss is incorrect, and a nomer is a name. So a misnomer is an incorrectly named thing or person.
Okay.
So my name is James. If you called me Generous James, right? That was always what I was called. Hey, that's Generous James. But Generous James never gives money to anybody. That would be a misnomer. I'm not really Generous James because I don't actually give money to anybody, the poor or the rich. So that would be a misnomer. Hey, that Generous James, that's a misnomer. So it means words that don't match what they're supposed to be. That would be incorrect because, again, in the midst of so many doubtful comments, we have a forthright, legit statement. And that legit statement plainly stands out as blank. Again, it's talking about the legit forthright statement. That's what it's describing. That blank has to describe the forthright statement. So the forthright statement is not a misnomer. It is a straight up truth. So misnomer is incorrect. Remember, we have a bunch of kind of tricky avoiding comments. Then we have this one statement of truth. What is that? That's oppositional, right? So which is oppositional? A paradigm, A, a profundity, C, or an anomaly, E? What do you think? The answer is E, an anomaly. And again, it's a vocab word. If you did not know it, write it down right now, type it in your phone, get it down on paper. Somehow you need to learn at least these 3 words today. Before you go to bed, look them over, look at the answers. Sorry, look at the words, look at their definitions, memorize it in your head, then go to sleep. So what is the definition of an anomaly? It is anything that is outside of the ordinary. It is something that is different. So let's stick it in our sentence. In the midst of so many evasive comments, this forthright statement, whatever its intrinsic merit, plainly stands out as an anomaly. Does that work? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Yes, it works, right? Yeah, I see your thumbs up because the honest, forthright statement is indeed strange. It's an anomaly. It's weird when put in the midst of so many, secretive comments. So E, an anomaly, is the right answer. Any questions so far about what we're doing? Now I've thrown in another technique for you to use, which is when you're trying to,
Mr. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me, Mr. Powell, I'm
Yeah.
headed to my next class, so I'm gonna have to log off.
okay, sure. No
Okay.
problem. That sounds good. I'm gonna send you the link for the survey. So if you could do that later on today, that would be great. Just as soon as you can, would be great.
Okay, and thank you so much for the PowerPoint. It was very helpful.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Xavier, it's you and me, so I'll have to lean on you a little bit more. But one other thing I wanted to show you is this is another technique to use. So if you are getting to the point where you feel like you're down to like 2 answer choices, you can always plug each of them into the blank and see how it reads, just like we just did. I put that word into the blank and I tried to read it out loud to see how it felt to me. Did it make sense? Did it work? So that's another technique. Typically, you use that at the end when you only have 1 or 2 that you're really trying to make sure, is this really the right answer? Let me hear it out loud. Let me put it in the sentence and hear it. All right, now these kinds of text completions can also come in the form of 2 blanks. And you might also see the dreaded 3 blanks. Now the 3 blanks are that's a lot. And that's for 1 point, for 1 question. Most people I would tell, just guess and move on. Don't even waste a single second trying to do those questions because they will eat up your time like nothing. But here's one that is possible, which are the 2 blank questions. Let's do them together now. I'm going to give you this example number 18. And I've given you some vocab hints at the bottom where I said diffuse means spread out. And I said inimical means hostile, unfriendly, and averse. Again, more vocab words for you to learn. Here's the question. The activists' energetic work in the service of both women's suffrage and the temperance movement in the late 19th century, blank number 1, the assertion that the 2 movements were blank number 2. Options for blank number 1 are A, undermines, B, supports, C, underscores. Answer choices for blank number 2 are D, diffuse, E, inimical, F, predominant. I'll give you 30 seconds to think of your answer and then ask you to come off mute to explain. All right, Xavier, I'm going to ask you to come off mute and just give me a guess as to which of these answers you have to pick one out of the ABC and another one out of the DEF, and tell me why you chose what you chose.
So for the first blank, I said support.
Okay.
And the second one, I was a little bit like confused with the second one, but like my best guess was predominant. For the first one, I said supports because reading it and like just placing that word there is because assertion is saying like it's I know what assertion means, but I can't put it into words, but like it's
Well, I'll tell you what assertion means. Assertion just means a statement or
right,
position. That's maybe the best word is position. And
right,
assertion is a position that you take by saying something. Like I can assert that we all have the right to free speech, right? I'm making an assertion, a declaration, a statement, a thing I believe.
okay.
All
And
right.
so when I put supports in front of it, it's just something like it just makes the most sense. But like for the second one, I was a little bit confused. So I just went with like my best guess and said predominant.
Okay, so let's go back and understand the passage. So we understand the activists' did energetic work. That's a key word, energetic, right? They were very, very energetic. And then another key word is both. They were energetic in the service of both women's suffrage and the temperance movement in the late 19th century. So if it were to support the assertion that the two movements were, you would have to say, well, it's going to support the assertion that these two movements are, I can't even think of anything, that the two movements are worthy of being done. Because you're really trying to say, hey, the fact that they're doing such energetic work, it supports the idea that these two things are worth fighting for, right? So maybe answer 2 would be worth fighting for. Now, this is a technique, which is to predict. You want to predict what your own words would be in the blanks.
Mhm.
And then you want to see which of those answer choices matches your prediction. So if I said support, and then I said worth fighting for, or worth standing up for, I would look and I say, yeah, B is supports. And then does D, E, or F mean worth fighting for? Diffuse does not. Inimical does not. Predominant does not. So nothing means it's worth fighting for. The support is going to be wrong
Mhm.
because you have to support the idea that these are worth this energetic work that's being done. Now, the other possibility is that it's the opposite. Instead of supporting that assertion, maybe it's undermining the assertion, right? To undermine means to go behind or to go against. Underscore, ironically, means to support. To underscore means to underline something, to say, hey, look at this. It means to say, hey, check this out. This is important. So to underscore actually is to highlight or to support something. Only undermines will give you the opposite effect. So Xavier, if we went with undermines, what do you think the answer choice for DEF might be? If energetic work for both of these things undermines the assertion that the two movements are what?
I want to say E.
Yes, E would be correct. That they are unfriendly or hostile to each other. So if you're going to energetically work for both things, you're going to break the assumption that they cannot work together. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So you are undermining the statement that they're incompatible, that they can't work together. All right. So the answers are A and E. It's going to be A and E combined is your correct answer. And again, that's what you would literally do on your sheet of paper or on your computer, because you'll probably be doing it on a computer. You're going to click on A and you're going to click on E, and then you're going to say, yeah, next. Any questions about 18 now that we've talked it over?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. Do you feel pretty good about text completion? You feel like you get that?
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to jump and skip my next one. I'm going to go to sentence equivalence. Sentence equivalence. What is sentence equivalence? Well, like you can see at the top, it's going to ask you to select 2 of the options to fill in the sentence. And those 2 options out of A, B, C, D, E, F, notice there are 6 answer choices. You're going to pick 2 out of 6. Both of them, each of them, in fact, must fit the meaning of the sentence as a whole and produce completed sentences that are alike in meaning. Again, keyword alike in meaning. So each of the 2 words you use must fit the meaning of the sentence as a whole and both mean the same thing in the context of the sentence. Is that clear, Xavier?
Yeah.
All right, so it's kind of like saying they individually must answer it and they must collectively mean the same thing. Let's give it a try. Only by ignoring decades of mismanagement and inefficiency Could investors conclude that a fresh infusion of cash would provide anything other than a blank solution to the company's financial woes? Are the answers, which two of these answers are correct? A, complete, fleeting, B, sorry, A, complete, B, fleeting, C, momentary, D, premature, E, trivial, F, total. Think about it, and when you're ready, go ahead and tell me what you think, Xavier.
Okay.
You just start whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm just rereading it.
Sure. This is a hard question.
Provide anything other than egg. So the answer has to be like, it has to complete the sentence and mean the same thing. Like so I have to choose two,
You got to choose two.
and they have to complete the sentence and mean the same thing.
Yes, mean the same thing in the context of the sentence. Yes.
Okay.
A great way to do it is, like I showed you at the last question, stick it in the blank and read it out loud to yourself, or read it in your head quietly. Once you found two of them, stick each of them in and see if it sounds in your head, sounds the same, quote unquote.
Okay. Other than a momentary solution. And I found one. I just need.
Which one do you think it is?
I found. Well, I was trying to find the other one, but for one, I said momentary.
Momentary is correct.
And then maybe because I have to choose another one, right?
Correct. So now you think about what a momentary solution feels like or sounds like. Now find something that's also a blank solution that also feels or sounds like a momentary solution. Which of those do? The other way to do it is cross off ones that are clearly wrong. What is clearly not momentary?
Was not momentary.
Yeah. Which of those answers are not momentary?
Complete.
Correct. Cross off A. Next.
Total.
Correct. Cross off F.
And oh wait, the answer is B.
Yes, you are correct. Great. So you see how I'm teaching you techniques as we go along, right? So one technique is POE, process of elimination. But how does that really work? It works specifically in this case when you have one answer and you're searching for the second answer, and you can effectively POE, process of elimination, cross off or eliminate answers that don't match the one that you are absolutely sure is right. So by getting C, you're able to cross off A and F. You could probably cross off D, which does not mean momentary. You could probably cross off E, which does not mean momentary, but E is a little bit tricky. You would probably choose between B and E. So B is definitely the same thing as momentary. Fleeting means just for a moment, just briefly. Do you see how you can use that to your help, to your aid?
Yes. Oh, you said C. Yeah.
All right, so you got it right. Answer is B and C. Are you ready to move on to another example?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Number 2, some scientists argue that carbon compounds play such a central role in life on Earth because of the possibility of blank resulting from the carbon atom's ability to form an unending series of different molecules. Here's the answer. A, diversity. B, deviation. C, variety. D, reproduction. E, stability. F, invigoration. Which two are correct?
Would it be A and C?
You got A and C. Yes, that is correct. And how did you get that? Well, tell me your thought process.
Because I was looking at, like, it said resulting from the carbon atom's ability to form an unending series of different molecules, and like diversity is like different things, and then a variety also means like different. It's like the same kind of meaning, and it makes sense to put it in the sentence.
Yes. And again, look at the meaning of the sentence. The possibility of blank resulting from the carbon atom's ability to form an unending series of different molecules. So this idea that the atom can make all these different molecules, that's linked to the answer choice you're going to pick, because the answer choice must be resulting from that. So it's got to be related to this ability to create all these different molecules. So only diversity and variety really makes sense. The other key thing is this keyword, central role in life on Earth, right? So it's a positive, it's a good thing. And so that diversity and variety are both good things that we're looking for, that are essential to life on Earth. All right, so you got it. A and C is correct. Let's move on. Next question. Given the flood of information presented by the mass media, the only way for someone to keep abreast of the news is to rely on blank accounts. Can you see the answer choices, or do you need me to read them off?
Oh no, I can see them. I'm trying to reread and put things like.
Okay, good.
So it's not going to be B.
You said it's not going to be what?
B.
Abridged?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Well,
is it not going to be B?
Because it's saying, given the flood of information by the mass media, the only way for someone to keep abreast of the news is to rely on. Isn't abridged like something that's like shortened or like not?
Yes, it is shortened, yes.
So
I
wait.
feel like B is incorrect. Tell me what you think is correct.
Okay. Maybe. Wait, never mind. I changed my mind.
You are entitled to change your mind. That's the best thing about the GRE. In the middle of the thought process, you could be like, nah, I'm going to change that.
Could it be? It may be A and B.
You are correct. The answer is A and B.
B. Okay.
Again, think about I go back to the first thing I ever told you all, which is always make sure you understand the text, right? Meaning is everything. So what is the meaning of this passage? It's saying that given, meaning because we have this already existing thing, which is this flood, meaning too much, right? A flood is too much. It's so much. So given that we have so much information being presented by the mass media, comma, the only way, so this is something that goes against the flood of information. The only way for someone to keep abreast of the news, the only way for me to understand what's happening in the world is to do what? To rely on shorter accounts, right? Now I'm using the prediction strategy I told you about. Fill in your own blank. So if I have a ton of info coming at me, only way for me to kind of know what's up is I'm going to rely on short, brief, little blurbs, right? Little things, that I can just quickly understand. So actually the right answer is to rely on quick accounts or short accounts. That's my prediction. Now I look for what answer choice matches my prediction. What matches shorter? Answers A, B, synoptic, abridged. Perfect. Done deal. See how that works?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's look at another one. I gave you a vocab hint. You can see that there. Obsequious means servile, fawning, obedient. kind of like a slave, sort of like.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Always circumspect, she was reluctant to make judgments, but once arriving at a conclusion, he was blank in its defense. A, deferential. B, intransigent. C, lax. D, negligent. E, obsequious. F, resolute. Which two are correct? I want you to try it. Why don't you fill in your own answer? Let's do a prediction strategy. So she's always circumspect. That means thoughtful. She's very careful. So she's reluctant, meaning she does not want to make judgments, meaning she's thoughtful. She thinks about it. She doesn't come up with quick conclusions, right? She doesn't judge people real fast. But once she does arrive at a conclusion, she is what in its defense? Give me a word of your own, not on this page.
She was. Wait. Reluctant to make judgments, but once arriving at a conclusion, she was.
But means, however, means I am now going to say something opposite. So the first thing I said is, she's very thoughtful, careful. She doesn't jump to conclusions, but I'm about to say something opposite. Once she does come to a conclusion, what is she like? Is she careful and thoughtful, or is she something else?
She's the opposite, so.
Right. So being careful, not willing to choose. What's the opposite of careful, not willing to choose? The opposite is.
Would it be judgmental then?
Yeah, it might be like more like, yeah, I am going to totally do this thing, right? So what is a word that means totally going to do this? No doubts.
No.
Go, go, go. Which word means that?
From the answer choices?
Yes.
Would it be E? Wait.
E means obsequious, servile, fawning, obedient.
No,
slavery.
it's not even.
Correct. Which of these words best means, yeah, totally gonna do it. No stopping me.
Would it be resolute?
Absolutely correct. Good job, Xavier. So you are understanding what I'm saying and you're able to process it and you're able to get the right answer. This is all very, very good for you. This is great. So you're understanding what I'm saying and you can incorporate it in how you do things. So what I'm saying is making good sense to you, it looks like. F is correct. Resolute means I resolve, right? I am sure about doing something. So resolute is firm, certain, that kind of thing. What else means firm or certain? And I'll ask you the opposite question too, just like we talked about POE. How can you eliminate words that are clearly not resolute? You tell me. You okay, Xavier? You want to give it a try? Okay, looks like you're having audio problems. Are you back on?
Yeah, my internet had went out. Sorry about that.
No problem. So what can we cross off as not being resolute to get to the right answer?
Not being resolute would be not being resolute. Would D? Could we cross out D?
Yeah, I will let you choose either way. Either find the same thing as resolute or
find
elimination, cross off things that are not resolute. I don't care. Either way you do it, just let me know.
Okay, I'm gonna cross out D.
Correct.
No.
Now,
Cross out. I will also cross out C
yes, keep going.
and think I think
E, what you said?
huh?
Did you say E?
Yeah, yes, I said E. Well, I said E the first time, but I was gonna say
Yeah, so everything you said so far is good. We now have A and B. Which one are we going to cross off and which one are you going to keep?
I wanna say I'm gonna keep B and cross out A
Yes. How did you come to that decision?
because intransigent is it's like you're not gonna change your mind. You're kind of like stuck.
Yes, beautiful. In means to change. Sorry, in means not, and trans means to cross over or to change, right? A transfer, a transaction. So intrans means to not cross over. So intransigent means I'm not going to change my mind. I'm sticking with it. That's the same as resolute. And the beauty, so you're correct. Your final analysis is absolutely right. Answer choices B and E. Now, I'm going to give you some more tips, right? That's what I'm here to tell you. Here's another strategy. The beauty of process of elimination is you combine it with sentence completion structure, or sorry, sentence equivalence structure. The way sentence equivalence is structured is that two answer choices often come together in pairs. For example, what is the same thing as lax? Negligent. So C and D are a pair. What is the same as deferential? To defer to someone means, hey, I'm going to give in. Hey, I'm only Robin, so I'm going to defer to you, Batman, right? So deferential means to give in to someone. Well, heck, that's the same thing as obsequious, where you're going to give in to the master, right? The slave is going to give in to the master. The Watson is going to give in to the Sherlock. The Robin is going to give in to the Batman. So A and E are a pair. And then, of course, B and F are a pair, the right pair. But do you see how knowing that they come in pairs often, not always, they often come in pairs, can help you to cross off wrong answers? Do you see that, Xavier?
Yes.
All right. So that's just another tip to help you get through this part of the GRE. All right. So I'm going to go over one question of reading comp. That's all we really have time for. And
Okay.
then I'm going to see if you have any other questions.
Okay.
So here is the question I'm going to give you. Saturn's giant moon, Titan, is the only planetary satellite with a significant atmosphere and the only body in the solar system other than Earth that has a thick atmosphere dominated by molecular nitrogen. For a long time, the big question about Titan's atmosphere was how it could be so thick, given that Jupiter's moons, Ganymede and Callisto, which are the same size as Titan, have none. The conditions for acquiring and retaining a thick nitrogen atmosphere are now readily understood. The low temperature of the Proto-Saturnian nebula enabled Titan to acquire the moderately volatile compounds methane and ammonia, later converted to nitrogen, in addition to water. The higher temperatures of Jupiter's moons, which were closer to the sun, prevented them from acquiring such an atmosphere. Here's your question. According to the passage, Titan differs atmospherically from Ganymede and Callisto because of a difference in what? A, rate of heat loss. B, proximity to the sun. C, availability of methane and ammonia. D, distance from its planet. Or E, size.
Would it be C? The availability of methane and ammonia. Wait. Which one was that? Another conditions. Thick nitrogen atmosphere and not really understood. Low temperature.
So it does say that Titan was able to get methane and ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
However, it doesn't really say whether Jupiter and other things did or did not
Did.
gain methane and ammonia. So it's kind of hard to say whether that was what it was. It says availability of.
Methane and ammonia.
We don't know if that was also available elsewhere. We're not really sure. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that may or may not be right. It's a little bit of a weak answer because it's
Okay.
a maybe. It's a I don't know enough. So I don't know enough is equivalent of wrong in the case of GRE.
Okay. And
Let's try something else.
big damage for a long time. Wait, for a long time, the question about type. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to reread it.
No problem. So one technique I will teach you now is when you're asked about according to the passage questions, when it says according to the passage, it's very clearly asking you to look in the passage for a detail. So that's what you need to do. You need to look through the passage and find details related to its specific question. It specifically asks you about atmosphere being different. So look for where it talks about atmosphere being different and figure out why. I'll give you about 1 more minute to think about that. And of course, tell me when you're ready.
Okay. For a long time, the big question about Titan's atmosphere. Well, I don't think it would be size because it says that given Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, and Castilla, which are the same size as Titan. So I think it's.
Go ahead. You don't think
it's. I think it's saying they're both they're the same size as Titan. So I don't think that would be something that differs.
right. Given that Jupiter's moons are the same size as Titan. So actually size is definitely wrong because there is no difference in size.
Okay.
Good answer. Again, you're doing POE, crossing off wrong answers.
So we said C and E are wrong. Then
again, look for the passage where it talks about difference in atmosphere. Why?
in addition to water, the higher. Oh, would it be B?
Correct. Proximity to the sun. You see the sentence that talks about? Read it out loud to me.
It says the higher temperatures of Jupiter's moons, which are closer to the sun, prevented them from acquiring such an atmosphere.
Exactly. You got it. So there you go. So again, according to now, there's strategies for every different question style and type in reading comprehension, which is why I absolutely don't have time to get into it in detail, but I'm just giving you a taste. In this one particular question type, according to the passage, comma, you need to dive into the text and find exactly where it talks about the issue it mentions. In this case, atmospherically different. So that's a technique that you definitely can take with you. All right, is all that clear? Good?
Yes.
All right, so this is the beginning, not the end, meaning take what I've shown you and apply it. Apply it as you practice your GRE questions. And finally, last but not least, I do need you to take a short survey. Are you able to scan this QR code or do you need me to copy paste the link in the chat box?
I could scan it. Hold on.
All right.
Okay, I got it.
Scan it, let me know if it worked, and it just takes like 1 or 2 minutes. It's really, really short.
Okay, yeah.
Would you mind doing that for me?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Right now. This is test prep basic strategies, right?
This is a test prep verbal strategies.
Verbal. Okay, I see it.
You got it?
Yes.
And do you recall the name of that other student? I don't remember.
I honestly don't remember it. I think it started with like an E, but I honestly don't remember.
I thought it was Enya, but I can't remember her last name. Oops.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no problem. Thank you, Xavier. Do you have any questions you want to ask me?
No, sir.
All right, go ahead and fill out that form, and then of course I'm going to do another session next week, same time, same place,
Okay.
12 o'clock, same Zoom channel, for another section of the GRE. Are you interested in that, or are you kind of not sure if you'll do that one?
I'll probably come back to that because I found this one really helpful. So yeah.
Awesome. Hey, well, I'm going to stop share real quick. Just want to say personally, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Mhm.